Legendary Furniture Designs, Farmingdale.
News 12 Long Island, 24 hours every day.
This healthcare system of ours is badly broken, and it is time to fix it.
President Clinton feels the pulse of American health care reform. I'm Tyrrell.
And I'm Patti Browne. The president makes an impassioned speech before a joint session of Congress and calls for coverage for every American. News 12's Judy Martin has more on the much-hyped unveiling of the plan. Judy.
Well, Patti, and the long-awaited Clinton health care plan is slowly unfolding. Details are yet to be figured out, but most would agree the plan calls for the most comprehensive changes in health care ever proposed by a United States president. With a broad smile, President Clinton said he was generally happy about the way government brass from both camps is responding to his health care plan.
He did great. What kind of reception did you get afterwards? Fabulous.
Often interrupted by applause, the president was optimistic.
Let us write that new chapter in the American story. Let us guarantee every American comprehensive health benefits that can never be taken away.
At the heart of the plan is a health security card. The Clinton health plan includes universal coverage for every American, standardized benefits through private or regional health alliances. The plan would be government regulated, and funding would come from employer and employee insurance premiums and a sin tax on tobacco. Restraints would also be put on Medicare and Medicaid. The president's proposal was met with cautious optimism from fellow Democrats, including Senator Edward Kennedy.
This is really a challenge to the institution of the Congress, whether we can, the House and the Senate, Democrats and Republicans, deal with the people's problems. The president has indicated his position. Now it's really up to us to respond to it. I hope we can.
From here, the plan will be debated for at least a year in Congress and in public. Long Island Congressman Rick Lazio says he has some concerns about the details which have yet to be worked out.
This may cost jobs, and it may involve additional costs beyond what we're talking about right now. And until the president is prepared to go to the people and sell this, and to the Congress, I don't think he's going to get the public fully behind him.
Now, President Clinton's plan is endorsed by a few insurance companies, including Aetna Life and Casualty. Others are not being too quick to support the plan just yet. Mr. Clinton now goes on the road with his plan in his usual Meet the People campaign style.
That's right. Time for the sales pitch now. Where's the president going?
That's for sure. Well, this morning, of course, he'll hit Washington. Big pep rally is scheduled for there. Then, in the evening, he heads to Tampa for a town hall meeting in the evening. And, of course, all his cohorts, high brass from the Clinton administration, will be making the rounds across the country.
Cabinet members are on their way out.
Oh, they are already. In fact, Al Gore was probably hit just about every network this morning already.
All right, Judy, thank you.
All right.
Well, local reaction to President Clinton's health care reform plan is mixed. News 12's Connie Conway was with the Nassau Coalition for National Health Care last night as they watched the president's address.
For years, the men and women in this room have been working for a national health care program. Now, what once seemed impossible seems within reach.
I am thrilled. I'm delighted. I consider it a milestone in social policy development in this country. For the first time, we have a president standing up and saying that everybody in the United States is entitled to access to health care.
Alyssa Giffords worries, though, the plan may interrupt medical treatment she desperately needs. The 28-year-old was diagnosed with lupus a year and a half ago, and she worries if she has to turn to an HMO for treatment, she won't be able to see the physician she wants.
I won't be able to continue seeing the doctor who I've grown accustomed to seeing, who I feel is very qualified, and I feel can provide me with the best medical care.
Still others, like the elderly, say the president's plan will help them considerably.
His stress on security, his stress on the need for Americans, and particularly elderly Americans, to have assistance in their pharmaceutical costs is vitally important.
While the Nassau Coalition for a National Health Care Plan is encouraged by the president's program, it worries it does not go far enough. The coalition does not like the two-tier system, meaning it does not like the HMO flat fee versus the fee for service, and it plans to push Congress to eliminate that aspect of the program. In Jericho, Connie Conway, News 12, Long Island.
Now we have much more ahead for you on the Clinton health care plan. Later in this hour, we'll have comments from Republican Congressman David Levy of Baldwin. We'll also have analysis from a local health policy expert who will shed some light on what the reform plan could cost you. Well, in other news, passengers are still missing today, a day after a train plunged off a bridge into an Alabama bayou in what's being called the worst Amtrak accident in history. Investigators are looking into what caused the derailment in Mobile. The FBI seems to be focusing its investigation now on a barge lost in fog that might have hit the bridge shortly before the train passed over it.
Well, at least 44 people are reported dead from that Amtrak crash.
Right now, we are going to go to the scene where News 12 correspondent Joan Murray is standing by with the very latest. Joan?
Patti, Ann, and Lee, the death toll may rise in this tragedy. This morning, investigators told us they believe up to 10 more persons may still be out in the water. What they are waiting for now is the arrival of a crane and barge. What they intend to do is to physically pick up one of the cars completely submerged. Divers have been unable to thoroughly search that car because of high tides and the murky water, so they believe by getting that car up, they will finally get everyone accounted for. This is just one more chapter in a very long and sad story.
Rescuers worked long into the night looking for victims, at times making startling and tragic discoveries.
There were passengers that may have gotten on the train that were not included on the manifest, and that's what we're trying to find out now. And the only way we can find out is, of course, to do a search and rescue.
Survivors now described scenes of terror and horror and heroism.
It was pretty chaotic. People were hysterical. A lot of them assembled on the train tracks right behind the train and swathed themselves in blankets. A few of us went down to the shore and tried to help people out of the water as best we could. There was people struggling for life in the water, obviously.
And again, investigators will struggle for answers on why the Sunset Limited's run ended so tragically.
The FBI is ruling out sabotage. The investigation is focusing right now on that dented barge that allegedly struck and weakened the trestle before the Sunset Limited passed over and then plunged into the murky water. Back to you.
Joan, there are reports of evidence on the barge that the barge actually struck the bridge. That's some of the reports we're getting. Is that the case?
That is true. That barge was dented, and apparently there were cement fragments that have matched the trestle out there. The whole question is, will this barge, or rather tugboat operator, be charged? Because apparently there was a lot of fog and he got lost, the barge got loose, and it may have all just been a terrible accident, so it remains to be seen whether any charges will be forthcoming.
But it hasn't been decided as of right now if that was indeed the cause of the accident.
Well, no one is saying for sure, but certainly all the investigators are leaning toward that. That's all they are talking about is that barge, the dented barge.
All right, correspondent Joan Murray, thank you very much for joining us.
Lots more questions still to be answered. And overseas, Russian President Boris Yeltsin is holding fast to power, and his top military commanders are apparently standing behind him. Yeltsin today is calling for new presidential elections in June. That's 2 months ahead of schedule, in a move he hopes will solidify his power base. 2 days ago, the Russian leader dissolved parliament after hardline lawmakers voiced harsh criticism of Yeltsin's democratic reforms in Russia. Today, the United States Senate votes on the latest financial aid package for Moscow. The man once accused of being Ivan the Terrible is still trying to fade back into normal life. According to John Demyanyuk's son-in-law, the retired auto worker may go into seclusion here in the United States. But American Jews are still speaking out, saying they don't want Nazis in America. Demyanyuk returned to the U.S. yesterday after serving 7 years in an Israeli prison.
Well, Israel's parliament has put its stamp of approval on the peace agreement with the PLO, although not without some loud debate at times. Although the Israeli parliament is not required to ratify the agreement, it has been customary for the governing body to approve accords with historical significance, and they did just that today. The Israeli PLO peace pact was signed during an historic ceremony last week on the White House lawn.
And coming up, a first-hand account from a woman who says she escaped the Long Island rapist.
Plus, Long Islanders spoke out on hate crime last night. Highlights from News 12's town meeting.
We don't put in front of his name a Jew so-and-so did this or a Christian so-and-so. But when it comes to a person who happens to...
I felt like I was the only bride in the world.
My daughter, married at the Woodbury Country Club on the grounds of the Mills Estate, a place I dreamed of.
It was a great feeling. The Woodbury Country Club did the very best for her. They couldn't have done more.
They really took care of us.
Yeah.
They did everything.
I was the only bride in the world.
You sure were.
United Airlines and your Long Island Travel Agents Association announces an invitation to London. It's your invitation to a great value starting from just $639, including midweek round-trip air transportation on United Airlines, offering daily non-stop service to London from JFK and Newark, 6 nights accommodations, a half-day sightseeing tour, and more from just $639. To accept your invitation, call the LIDA hotline at 800-526-8992 and come fly the airline that's uniting the world. Come fly the friendly skies.
You want more variety? Mix 105 will paint the picture for you.
In the middle of the night.
The best music mix.
The biggest variety.
Mix 105 stirs up the best mix
of the 70s,
80s,
and 90s. Listen for wall-to-wall variety.
The best music mix.
105.1 FM.
Mix 105 WMXV.
The following is a paid commercial announcement. All the cries went unanswered, and nobody lifted a finger to help.
The most obvious signs of neglect went ignored.
Finally, in New York State, small business rolled over and died.
The jobs followed.
Those who really care are powerless to change what has been done.
If it hasn't yet affected you, beware. It's only a matter of time.
Get out. Escape before it's too late for you and your family.
Get your bumper sticker at the Oak Beach Inn. Hurry.
The proceeding was a paid commercial announcement.
Well, she can be considered lucky, but News 12's Matt Jablow reports one woman and her community still live in fear of a serial rapist thought to be stalking North Amityville, West Babylon, and Wyandanch.
He is one of the most wanted men on Long Island, a serial rapist who first appeared in the North Amityville area in June and who has left a trail of terror in his wake ever since. Many area residents are angry that even though his crime spree has been going on for 3 months now, it was only yesterday that police went public about it. One woman, who was almost one of the rapist's victims, says police would have done more to notify the community if the attacks had taken place in a white neighborhood. The woman asked that her name be withheld and her voice and face digitally altered.
I think the consensus in the community is that the community should have been notified before now. I'm not saying the police is not doing their job, but I think we should have known this was going on before now.
For this story, we'll call her Betty. She says she came face to face with a rapist late one night about 3 months ago.
There was a gentleman in my house, and he held me at knife point. And he attempted to rape me, but I guess because of the time or whatever, he figured someone else would be coming to the house, because he had mentioned this to me about where is this person, where is that person, so I think he had been watching me. And I guess because of the time span, he realized he didn't have time to do what he came to do. So then finally he just left.
Betty, who is not married, says she has been traumatized by her brush with a rapist. She says she hasn't stayed alone at her home ever since and never goes anywhere without some type of protection.
It's to the point where I'm paranoid of every little thing now. I walk around, I have a knife in my pocket. I walk around with scissors. I walk around with different things because I always think he's coming back for me. Or if it's not him, someone else out there is coming back.
Matt Jablow, News 12, Long Island.
Now, Suffolk police have said they had to make sure they had a serial rapist on their hands first before they went public so they wouldn't cause unnecessary alarm.
Suffolk County is trying to protect its citizens against domestic violence.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation estimates that 1 out of every 2 women will be physically abused at some point in their lives.
If you're a victim of family violence, this new video tells you how to obtain an order of protection from family court. Suffolk County will distribute the video in probation department lobbies, domestic violence agencies, libraries, and Blockbuster video outlets. Last year, more than 9,000 orders of protection were issued in Suffolk.
Well, the wraps have been removed from the president's health care plan, and the package could be headed for the bestseller list. The president's 304-page health security plan is on sale in bookstores now at $8 apiece. And the House was full of applause for last night's address, the right address, that is. When Mr. Clinton began his speech, the teleprompter that he reads from was scrolling last February's House address instead. After a 7-minute ad-lib by the president, Vice President Al Gore called on an aide to finally fix the situation. And with that right speech, President Clinton has challenged lawmakers to guarantee Americans health care coverage from birth all the way to old age.
Here to comment on the president's proposed package is SUNY Stony Brook health policy expert Stan Altman. Thanks for joining us, Stan.
Thanks. Good morning.
Now, first of all, the issue of Hillary, when she was first appointed, people said, well, she was not elected, I did not elect her. Do you think that she has proven herself in this position?
Well, I think the speech last night raised for the American public, in my mind, the singular issue, which has always been the question of universal access and security.
There are those who argue, though, that 85% of Americans do have health care coverage, and we're making a big ruckus over only 15% of the population. How do you feel about that response?
Well, of the 85% that is covered, there's been significant percentages of maybe a third of those who have inadequate coverage. That is, they have insurance, but the co-payment amounts are so onerous that they don't use the health care system because they can't afford the co-payment. So,
do you think what the president proposed last night is adequate for the country?
Well, what the president was very clever last night. He proposed a policy that needs to be met by any potential solution to, in terms of the final financing and actual implementation of the program. I think in that sense, he really defined the issues in his 6 simple words of security, simplicity, savings, choice, quality, and responsibility. In fact, on responsibility, I thought it was quite significant that he raised public health concerns for the first time, and that he used as an example of other aspects of social behavior that are detrimental to our health, this issue of teenage violence with guns.
Mm-hmm. But now, should small businesses, particularly here on Long Island, be concerned about how they're going to be able to pay for this?
Well, I think there are a lot of issues related to the implementation of this that are potential concerns for New York and the island. For example, on the small business concern, there is a sliding scale for the employer payers for employment for firms that have less than 50 employees. That scale starts at a 3.5% employer contribution to up to 7.9%, depending upon the average salary of the employees receive. Long Island has a lot of small high-tech firms, and so they're going to end up being at the higher end of the salary scale.
Are we in danger of losing our choice of the doctor that we want to go to under this plan that the president has proposed?
Well, not necessarily, because the president's proposed a plan that has 3 choices. It's not just the managed care choice. It's managed care, there's the preferred providers, which in fact you can choose a doctor under that plan, and then there's a regular fee for service. The choice is likely to cost people more. On the other hand, if nothing happens, it's likely to cost people more.
You think the Congress can pass something, as the president has challenged them to, by next summer?
Well, there are 1,400 bills in front of Congress. I think something will get passed by next summer. I think it will look different than the president's proposing. But a lot of what the president's proposing is what has already been proposed in New York State. I mean, there's a lot of similarity in terms of the state's position in terms of health policy. Right. I think the concerns about the bureaucracy are real, but I think there's a lot of changes that are really going to happen.
A lot of work ahead, too.
Yes.
Stan Altman from SUNY Stony Brook, thank you again for joining us today. Thanks a lot. Well, ahead on News 12, the cloud cover's bound to lift sometime, we think. We'll find out from Joe.
Well, you might think so, but might take a while. Certainly not today. We've got some showers maybe for later this afternoon. We'll tell you all about that in just a bit.
Okay, thanks.
And it was a prominent Long Islander whose body parts were found washed ashore in Southampton. Details ahead.
I never compromise with my family's health. That's why I shop at Body, Mind, and Soul for natural vitamins and healthcare products. I can see the difference in my family's energy. Plus, I receive a 50% membership discount.
The self-help and family counseling selection of books at Body, Mind, and Soul can't be beat. I've made new friends at the lectures, and what I've learned has added new meaning to my life.
The atmosphere at Body, Mind, and Soul is inspiring. And after shopping, I relax in the Natural Food Cafe and enjoy great tasting food.
Across from the Walt Whitman Mall in Huntington.
There's great news for the cost-conscious crafter at A&S Novelty. Now you can buy all your craft supplies from A&S Novelty Warehouse for price savings that can't be beat. For even greater savings with our quantity discount program, the more you buy, the more you save. A&S Novelty also manufactures and sells trim and ruffles to stores worldwide. You can buy direct from the factory. We're also an authorized dealer for new home sewing machines featuring the amazing Memory Craft 8000. A&S is staffed by knowledgeable, friendly craft professionals to assist you. Visit A&S Novelty soon, your ultimate craft source.
Oh, it's fabulous.
It happens every time. Something wonderful happens every time you give or get a gift from the limited edition. Only the limited edition has such a complete collection and selection. From Hummel to Yadro, from crystal to the most unusual music boxes you've ever seen. Come to the limited edition in Merrick and discover how some of the most gifted people in the world yet that way. Sunday Yadro figurines just retired, plus free gift with your Yadro purchase.
It's the city's pro-business attitude.
I like the deal. I like the people.
It's the location. We've expanded 6 times because we can ship anywhere from here.
We continue to expand in Virginia Beach because of the quality of the workforce.
Life is just good in Virginia Beach.
It's not only a nice place to work, but a nice place to live as well.
If your business wants to expand, call Virginia Beach.
Did I mention the great seafood?
Taking a look at what's going on across Long Island today, people who are interested in dinosaurs can catch an earful today at the Southampton campus of Long Island University. Paleontologist Charles Pellegrino will be discussing the scientific theories behind the movie Jurassic Park. The Community Hospital of Western Suffolk in Smithtown is offering a free lecture on prostate cancer tonight. Men attending the seminar will be able to sign up for a free examination. And beginning today, some East End shellfishing waters will be closed for the rest of September. The State Department of Environmental Conservation closed certain areas off Riverhead and Southampton because of hazardous conditions caused by runoff from recent heavy rains.
I'll tell you, you can't win. We finally get the rains that we need, and after such a dry summer on the East End, and now they close down shellfishing beds because of it.
But at least the showers that are coming today won't be anything like what they had yesterday, which was 2-inch plus rainfalls in about an hour's worth of time. So the question is today, now that we have a new season, how about a new sky cover? At least get rid of the sky cover that we had yesterday and get some sun out. Well, we got one part of that equation. We got rid of the low clouds, but guess what? More clouds. We have a cold front, and look at that swirl there in eastern Canada, very well defined on the loop. That is the next cold front, the energy, going by to our north. Yesterday, we had a little disturbance, and you can just catch that on the first frame that produced the rain as it was going out. But the bulk of the energy was overhead, not to the north. And in this case, we have energy to the north and energy to the south and southwest. So we're going to get split in the middle here, and I think we may get away with very little shower activity. The radar in motion from earlier, some scattered showers, mainly in upstate New York and in Pennsylvania, but the real heavy stuff is right down through Kentucky, northern Tennessee, and in the yellows and oranges, some very big thunderstorms covering the state of Missouri, the northern 2/3. So with all of the tropical moisture staying away, what shower activity we get today will be the scattered type and not much more as the cold front moves through. And then after it goes by, a little nose of high pressure from the plains starts to build on in. And even though this is a cold front, the air behind it will actually be a little warmer than the air ahead of it because we've had the cloud cover holding temperatures down the last 2 days. When we get the sun back tomorrow, temperatures will probably climb up into the upper 60s and the low 70s. So one more grayish day to get through before some real improvement. And with temperatures today, mid-60s on the east end to some upper 60s, near 70 in Suffolk, maybe some low 70s if we're lucky in Nassau County, but a lot of clouds around. Every once in a while, the sky will brighten or the sun will look like it'll try and come out. The pollen count 6 and the mold's running high. Southwest at 10 to 20 knots, 2-foot seas on the ocean, a foot on the sound. The visibility near 0 in any showers or fog. Otherwise, generally 2 to 4 miles. Water temperatures in the mid-60s. 641, 649, sunrise and sunset. The normals are 72 and 54. 92 the record high in 1970, and we have a record low of 28 in 1953. Give you a global perspective, we have a full disk. And it does look like that, a disk. The northern hemisphere, the North America here, you can see what was left of Tropical Storm Gert, now a depression in the Pacific, the intertropical convergence zone in the Pacific, and a disturbance east of the Leeward Islands. There are a couple of disturbances in the Atlantic we're watching. One on the edge here, about 1,000 miles southwest of the Azores, that's moving actually toward the west-southwest, and this wave approaching the leewards moving toward the west-northwest. So 2 things in the tropics to keep our eyes on, and we'll do that. We'll have the full forecast and extended later on. Lee.
All right, Joe, thank you. A grisly discovery on a Southampton beach brings a tragic end to a month-old mystery. Police say a pelvic bone found in the sand on a Southampton town beach belongs to a well-known architect, Norman Jaffe. Jaffe had been missing since August 19th. Police suspected Jaffe disappeared while taking a swim in the ocean. Authorities identified the bone through recent X-ray and medical records. The pelvic bone is just one of 3 human bones to wash ashore in the last 2 weeks. Still to come, there could be a rate hike ahead for Blue Cross Blue Shield members after all. We'll have a report. And we'll tell you what local residents and what one local congressman thinks about President Clinton's plan for universal health care.
News 12 is brought to you in part by Tom Rice Buick GMC truck. Now you can save twice with the Tom Rice price.
Everyone knows that when you want to save money buying or leasing a brand new Buick or GMC truck, you get the Tom Rice price. Everyone knows that you can save twice because Tom Rice always discounts the complete line of Buick and GMC trucks. Save twice. Get the famous Tom Rice price on Buick and the full line of GMC trucks.
Only at Tom Rice Buick, you get the Tom Rice price. Tom Rice Buick.
And GMC trucks.
As America rushes off to work,
Gonna make it.
a little girl waits. As we check our watches to see if it's time for lunch,
I'll meet you in 10 minutes.
a little girl waits.
I can't believe it cost that.
As we gripe about the cost of prescriptions, a little girl waits.
Most all of the threats to
And as we watch news footage of children by the thousands dying of hunger and disease and think the problem's too big, what can I do? A little girl like this waits and hopes. She hopes that someone like you will realize that even though you can't save the world, you can save one child. It takes just $21 a month through Christian Children's Fund. Please call. CCF is the world's oldest and most respected child sponsorship organization. Call the number on your screen and we'll send you the picture and story of one child you can sponsor. One child you can save.
The following is a paid commercial announcement.
This once beautiful bridge is now a frightening structure.
This recent report says the concrete is substandard.
Who's going to pay to fix it?
As usual, I guess it'll be you and me.
Not me. There's no future here in New York. Taxes are already impossibly high. I'm not going to roll over and be financially destroyed.
So what can be done?
Nothing. We've done everything we can. Enough is enough. It's time to smarten up. Save what little you and your family have left and escape while you can.
The proceeding was a paid commercial announcement.
Well, a fight is brewing over an upcoming Empire Blue Cross rate hike. More than 1 million of Empire's customers will be subject to the rate increase. Yesterday's rate hike announcement comes just days after the state insurance superintendent declared he would not approve one. The planned $321 increase could double the cost for some ratepayers.
President Clinton's health care reform package is heading to Congress today.
House Republican Health Care Task Force member Congressman David Levy is one of those who will be hearing the matter. He joins us now from Washington. Congressman, welcome back to News 12.
Hello, it's good to be with you.
You've started out by saying it's a good starting point, but where do you go from there with Mr. Clinton's plan? Do you give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Well, I think there are portions of the plan that are very, very good. Those portions which are intended to bring down the cost of health care immediately by doing things like standardizing insurance paperwork, which needs to be done. Those are the types of things that have to take place right away. I disagree with the president, however, insofar as he is proposing that we nationalize the health care system and put it almost completely under federal jurisdiction.
You are a co-sponsor of a Republican health care reform plan. How does that differ from this one?
Well, it would take an hour or 2 hour show to go into the differences. The Republican philosophy is not so much that our health care delivery system is broken, because it's not. Our philosophy is that it is too expensive. It doesn't need to be reinvented. The costs have to be brought down while maintaining choice for people, and we can do that. The president's proposal takes our current system, scraps it, and starts anew under federal supervision and control. And that's really, in a nutshell, how they differ.
How would you propose paying for any change in health care reform? I mean, the president is saying sin taxes. Many Republicans don't like that idea. They also don't want employers kicking in any more money for health care. If we're going to make a change, we obviously have to pay for it somehow. How do we do that?
Well, the difference in the plan is in how we go about bringing the costs down and make more health care available to our residents. One of the things that the Republicans would like to do is to create Medisave accounts, which have been likened to IRA accounts. You tell your employer that you'd like a certain portion of your income put aside in what we call a Medisave account. That money is tax deductible, just as an IRA contribution would be, and it is the taxpayer's responsibility then to use that money to pay his health care costs. So that's one area in which the two plans differ very much.
How does someone who's unemployed or homeless go about doing something like that?
Well, one of the problems that we do have to deal with is finding a system to deal only with those people. One of the differences between the Republican plan and the president's plan is that the Republicans want to deal with those people separately to bring them into the system. Under the president's plan, everybody is involved, whether they currently have coverage or not.
Congressman Levy, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Congressman. Well, looking back in history, 9 black students were driven out of their high school 36 years ago today. A white mob had formed outside Little Rock High School in Arkansas, forcing the black students to leave. The following day, President Dwight Eisenhower sent in paratroopers to escort the youngsters to class.
Anti-Semitic graffiti on a Comac High School track shocked a community and opened the eyes of many to hate crimes here on Long Island. News 12's Colleen McVeigh brings us a report on more local opinion in our wrap-up of last night's Focus 12 town meeting, Hate Hits Home.
I've always been worried since the day I was born. I've lived with prejudice all my life.
In order to make the lives of Mackenzie and others who are victims of hate crimes better, education is the key. Police in both Nassau and Suffolk counties say the rate of biased crimes has fallen since 1990. Some of the credit in Suffolk goes to an innovative program built on understanding the interplay of economics, social standings, and politics.
The economy is getting better, even though people don't necessarily admit that. In our political situation, those wrong-thinking people, again, would perceive Mr. Clinton as being more of a liberal than I think a conservative. So that's in our favor.
However, the message apparently isn't reaching everyone.
The Jews are masterminding for the past thousands of years, just like the protocols of Zion. They had their filthy little hands and all the rotten perversity that's ever gone on. They've been murdering people. Why do you think all these bodies are washing ashore on Long Island, right around Yom Kippur?
Since hate crimes are usually targeted at a group, some say stopping them will require an end to labels.
If a Christian or a Jew did an act of terrorism, we don't put in front of his name a Jew so-and-so did this or a Christian so-and-so. But when it comes to a person who happens to be a Muslim, then immediately the name Muslim is put in front of his name.
Recent anti-Semitic graffiti in Comac was met by a community that is willing to fight back.
You can't stop. You come to a rally, and that's great that you're there, but you need to bring it back. You need to teach the kids. You need to be an example.
But there are so many pockets of white areas in Suffolk County that kids actually grow up to be young adults and never actually dialogued with an African American, a Jewish American, a gay or lesbian American, a Muslim American. So we need to continually try to expose them to that.
Colleen McVeigh, News 12, Long Island.
Well, if the gay ban on the military has been lifted, why is the Navy still discriminating against them? That's a question a U.S. district judge wants answered. Judge Terry Hatter has ordered Defense Secretary Les Aspin, the Secretary of the Navy, and the commanding officer of a California naval base to appear in court on September 30th. They face contempt charges if they don't show. It comes in the wake of more complaints from admitted gay sailor Keith Meinhold that the Pentagon has not kept its promises. Well, still to come, from Sag Harbor to Paris and back again, Norton the Cat follows his master wherever he goes. We'll meet author Peter Gethers and Norton the Cat in just a moment in our studio.
And an innovative internship program helps local high school kids go to the head of the class in a moment.
Nobody beats Long Island Diamond prices. My dad got my mom's ring here.
Long Island Diamond saves you a lot of money.
We got the diamond we wanted at the price we wanted.
Long Island Diamond has a world-class selection of all sizes, shapes, and price ranges.
I can keep a secret. Really, I can. But I just can't keep a great bargain to myself. I've been saving up to 40% on fashions and jewelry, housewares, and electronics.
Where?
Wild horses couldn't drag it out of me. Okay, TV's Home Shopping Club.
Oh?
Sure. And with Home Shopping Club's 30-day guarantee, it's risk-free.
Let's shop.
Home Shopping Club. Great bargains guaranteed.
Introducing the award-winning video adventure series, The Infinite Voyage. Begin your journey with the Great Dinosaur Hunt. Imagine a time when Jurassic beasts ruled the Earth for 140 million years. Take a closer look at how dinosaurs lived, socialized, and flourished. Did a meteorite collide with the Earth, causing the extinction of the dinosaurs? Call now and receive the Great Dinosaur Hunt for only $14.99. If it captures your interest, you can get other videos about every other month. Each tape explores a different facet of incredible scientific exploration and discovery. Witness Mother Nature's awesome fury in living with disaster. Then join Leonard Nimoy in Miracles by Design as he travels through the expanding universe. Call now to receive the Great Dinosaur Hunt and experience more than you and your family ever imagined. To order your Infinite Voyage video, call 1-800-548-4540 or send $14.99 plus $3.95 shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
You can certainly call Norton a world traveler. He's been everywhere: France, Holland, Germany, Italy, Switzerland, and Spain, and all over America. He's even flown on the Concorde. Norton has been described as brilliant, handsome, and good-hearted, and also round-headed with flat folded ears and looks more like an owl. Norton is a cat, and his latest adventures are chronicled in the book A Cat Abroad, the further adventures of Norton, the cat who went to Paris, and his human. And Norton's human, writer Peter Gethers from Sag Harbor, joins us also today, along with the star, the one and only Norton. Welcome. It's good to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for interrupting your travels for a few minutes to stop and
Oh, well,
see
it's
us.
no problem. That's definitely the billing I'm used to, is Norton and his human.
Number two, huh?
Absolutely. I'm used to it.
Tell us a little bit about Norton. What kind of cat? I hate to say he's a cat because I have a strange feeling he might be a little insulted. He doesn't know that.
He doesn't like it either.
I didn't think so. Okay.
He is a weird breed of cat called a Scottish Fold, where if you can see his ears, everyone thinks he's always nervous or afraid, but in fact, that's the breed. His ears don't go straight. That's as high up as they go. The great thing about these cats, I think, is their ears are born straight up like this, and then when they're 21 days old, either they stay up forever or they just flop over like that and stay like that for the rest of their lives.
And the interesting thing is that you were not a cat lover.
No, I was actually a die-hard cat hater.
Hater, huh?
And he was given to me as a 6-week-old kitten as a present from a girlfriend. And it's a little difficult to resist a 6-week-old kitten who's placed in your hand, who fits in the palm of your hand. So it was actually a little tragic what mush I turned into immediately, which is how Norton became such a good traveler, because I actually within days couldn't bear to leave him in my apartment or in my house. So he was so little he could fit in the pocket of my coat, and I would carry him around the city or in Sag Harbor, and we became inseparable.
And now Norton travels by plane, and I have to ask you, because I just can't imagine you sticking Norton into a cat carrier and leaving him back in the baggage department.
Oh, no, he definitely doesn't go in the baggage department.
I didn't think so.
In fact, last year, which is part of what A Cat Abroad is about, Norton and I, and my current girlfriend named Janice, which is definitely the billing, Norton, me, Janice.
And I want to say, you
goes.
packed up, and the three of you moved to the south of France for a year, and that's what this book is about.
Exactly right. But as far as Norton flying, we had figured out a way to do advantage miles, which is for free, but it turned out the airline we had picked wouldn't let the cat fly with me. So just to show what a complete cat nut I am, or Norton nut I am, Janice, of course, used the advantage miles. Norton and I paid big bucks to go over there so he could fly up with me, and this is pretty much the way he sits on the entire flight, too.
So you paid for Norton's seat. I mean...
Norton gets treated pretty well, I have to say.
That's amazing. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the adventures in A Cat Abroad, because Norton has had some crazy adventures. One chapter that kind of scared me, because I'm an animal lover, is a cat gets lost. Now, Norton, I understand, follows you around, doesn't need a leash, will stay where you tell him to stay.
Not in a city, not in a big city, but out in Sag Harbor in the country or something. Yeah, he really is incredible. He's like a very well-behaved child, or actually like a very well-behaved adult. He'd get insulted if I called him a child. But one day in the city, he disappeared. And it was in New York, and we were staying at Janice's apartment, and we were in fact leaving on a vacation, and for the first and only time we were going away without you-know-who, which I think he knew. And it came time to leave in the morning. Janice had actually left the night before, and I was meeting her, and he was gone, and I couldn't find him anywhere in the apartment.
You
and that is totally unlike Norton, because again, he's the perfect person. And panic is, to put it mildly, it was actually tragic the way I responded. I totally fell apart. Being a mature, grown-up adult, I turned into a babbling idiot. Called all my friends, and it was pouring rain. It was a hurricane outside, and there was a window that was open, a crack at the top. And somehow my imagination conjured up that that's how he'd gotten out and climbed up the roof and shinnied down a rope or whatever he would do. And we spent all day and night just searching for the cat in the rain. 12 hours later, came back sopping wet, and of course the cat was sitting by the front door as comfortable and warm and dry as could be. He was just hiding to pay me back for leaving him for a few days.
How did Norton like Paris?
He loved Paris. He loved Provence, which is where we were last year.
Does he love Europe in general?
He does, because he can go out to dinner with us every night, which he does. He's very popular at some of the better restaurants around Europe.
Does he recommend it for other felines?
Well, dogs are a little more popular in French restaurants, but he does pretty well. I think his top culinary experience was at a 3-star restaurant in Provence called Beaumanière, where their specialty is dessert, and they got to know him quite well. Their specialty are these wonderful soufflés, and at the end of the dinner, they brought out soufflés for all the human, and then put the silver serving tray with the silver cover on top of
they know who
the cat. Exactly.
I'm going to stretch our time just one second, because I have one question to ask you. I understand Norton's life story is heading for the movies.
Yes, it's going to be a movie starting shooting after the first of the year. Fred Dreyer, who is Hunter, is playing me.
Okay.
It's a natural, I think.
Yes, I see it.
Kind of the inner me, actually.
Who's playing Norton?
They're a stunt cat. Norton is not playing himself. There's a casting search on now for 2 kittens and 2 cats to play him in the movie.
This is just such a fun book for animal lovers, cat lovers. I mean, if you don't love cats, you will after you read this book. It is called A Cat Abroad, and it's all about the adventures of Norton, the cat who went to Paris, and his human, who is Peter Gethers from Sag Harbor. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. It was
Please
fun.
come back with the further adventures of Norton, and we'd like to hear about the movie when that goes into production.
Anytime.
Also. Norton, it was great meeting you.
Speak up.
Patti Ann, back to you.
All right, I think you got dissed there, Lee. And now turning to our People page, an old, odd couple is getting back together again, Tony Randall and Jack Klugman. The two are teaming up for a reunion show entitled The Odd Couple Together Again, which will air tomorrow night at 9 on CBS. The correspondents for 60 Minutes and Charles Kuralt and Linda Ellerby will be on the upcoming episode of Murphy Browne. They'll show up in a nightmare that Murphy, played by Candice Bergen, is having once she agrees to have a biography written. And Elton John is setting up his own foundation to raise money for AIDS victims. John says the music industry needs a representative in its fight against AIDS. With shrinking state dollars and smaller budgets, school districts welcome any help they can get. In the Belmore Merrick schools, an innovative internship program with Adelphi University has afforded college students the opportunity to pave the way for employment. News 12's education editor Judy Martin explains why this program has students in the district stepping to the head of the class.
What we're going to do today.
Laura Gerasi is teaching biology. Her job came as a bonus after working as a teacher intern at Mepham High School.
You get a sense of what it is to be part of a faculty, part of a community, how to work with children, how to respond to them, how to learn how to get them to be active learners. A lot of things that put me way ahead of the game being a first-year teacher.
She is one of the lucky ones who participated in an unusual internship program run by Adelphi University and the Belmore Merrick School District. A normal student teaching internship runs about 10 to 15 weeks, but this program runs a full year. After about 10 weeks, the student teachers become employees of the district and get a salary similar to a substitute teacher. The master's candidates are handpicked by officials from the district and the university.
But the internship program we have here is quite unique. It's the only one I know of its kind in the state.
The district and some dollars from the federal government fund the program. Earth science can be really tough, especially if you don't know what you're doing. So if you ask the students who's reaping the most rewards from having an extra instructor in the classroom, they're likely to say that they're the ones that are benefiting. Sometimes they even get one-on-one tutoring, perhaps right here in the library or even in the classroom. And students who worked with Mrs. Gerasi while she was a teacher intern couldn't agree more.
She helped me in like science and math, and when I took the Regents at the end of the year, I did like very well on both the Regents.
She helped me during my lunch hour. She had an off period and she helped me almost every day.
Principal John Didden says the interns have helped increase student achievement.
The reception by the students is fantastic. They like having someone else there.
The district has 13 Adelphi students participating in the program. This year, 9 are studying education, another 4 are studying social work. Rosemary Steele says it's afforded her an inside look at secondary education.
And spend an entire year, an academic year, with these kids. And I think that's important to keep with the whole rhythm of the school year.
Judy Martin, News 12, Long Island.
Well, ahead for you on News 12, we'll tell you what kind of weather's in store for this first weekend of fall.
And we'll preview a new helping of big screen releases in this week's On the Aisle.
News 12's Head of the Class is brought to you by Hofstra University. Call 516-HOFSTRA for more information.
When you add it all up, it's the total college experience that makes Hofstra University the one to choose. Hofstra University. Call 516-HOFSTRA.
Cut yourself a great deal at Montauk Rug and Carpet's giant 2-acre Farmingdale showroom, warehouse, and design gallery, covering Long Island's floor since 1925. Montauk, the department store for your floor. Price Parkway at Route 110, Farmingdale.
The following is a paid commercial announcement. All the cries went unanswered, and nobody lifted a finger to help.
The most obvious signs of neglect went ignored.
Finally, in New York State, small business rolled over and died.
The jobs followed.
Those who really care are powerless to change what has been done.
If it hasn't yet affected you, beware. It's only a matter of time.
Get out. Escape before it's too late for you and your family.
Get your bumper sticker at the Oak Beach Inn. Hurry.
The proceeding was a paid commercial announcement.
At Lilco, we have many innovative programs to strengthen Long Island's businesses. After all, Long Island's future depends on the success of our business community. Lilco offers rate incentives and a variety of energy conservation programs. We also help companies make use of Long Island's highly skilled workforce. We're a one-stop service that works with government to help our businesses take advantage of tax incentives and cut through red tape. If you have a business on Long Island, call us. We want to help you succeed.
The Yanks put themselves in a do-or-die situation after another loss to the Twins. Pedro Munoz does it to the Yanks again. He slams a 3-run homer to make it 4-0 Minnesota. It is his 3rd homer against the Yanks in 2 games. The Yanks go on to lose 5-2. Toronto also lost to Boston, so the Yanks stay where they are in the standings. The Orioles are still 5.5 back, with Boston and Detroit practically out of the picture. Meanwhile, the Mets had to use some last-minute heroics to beat the Pirates. In the 10th inning, Charlie O'Brien nails a 2-run homer to put New York ahead of Pittsburgh 6-5. John Franco managed to hold on in the bottom of the 10th for the 6-5 win. In the race for the National League West title, San Francisco's win over Houston, coupled with Atlanta's loss to Montreal, shaves the Braves' lead to just 2.5 games over the Giants. And it's now the 2nd day of fall, or the first full day of fall, if you want to call it that. Full day of fall. Joe Chaffee has more on that. Joe.
That's right, and the clouds are still with us, folks, so we are going to see lots of clouds for the rest of the day. Every once in a while, it'll look like the sun will try, but a couple of scattered showers. No heavy rains like yesterday, just some scattered showers, and we were specifically talking about the East End. They got swamped, 68-74. And then what showers are around go goodbye this evening. Skies will clear out after midnight in the 50s, and then a sunny Friday, 68-74. And I think it looks pretty good for the weekend, especially on Saturday. We should have some sunshine on the extended forecast. Maybe a few more clouds coming in on Sunday, but I left showers out until Monday.
Okay.
Which usually follows Sunday.
At least it has in my experience, yeah. Okay, thanks, Joe. Well, a new batch of flicks arrives in theaters just in time for fall. Our entertainment critic, Alan Oren, takes a look at what may be the more interesting of them on the aisle.
Starting with this Friday, the angel-faced Macaulay Culkin takes a turn toward the devil in The Good Son, which he isn't here. But fear not, for come November, he'll repent and return to sweetness in, of all things, The Nutcracker. Bones will be cracking, as always with Sly Stallone, when he arrives as Demolition Man, a futuristic, defrosted destroyer. And sabers will be rattling, as always, when the Three Musketeers resurface, this time, oddly, as Charlie Sheen, Kiefer Sutherland, and Chris O'Donnell. But let's get serious. Last year's Oscar winner, Al Pacino, is this year's mobster in Carlito's Way, emoting along with Sean Penn. And former Oscar winner Jeremy Irons is a diplomat duped by a transvestite girlfriend. No, it's not Crying Game 2, it's M. Butterfly.
I can marry you, Renee.
It's all right. I'll divorce my wife. I can get you out of China.
I can.
Why?
Speaking of sequels, that ghoulish gang re-arrives in November to explore Adam's family values. And that dumb dog, who panted all the way to the bank, tries to make the trip again in Beethoven's Second.
That's a lot of dogs.
There'll also be reruns of all your old favorites in Carl Reiner's spoof of romantic thrillers, Fatal Instinct.
I'm not wearing any underwear.
Try these on.
Finally, toward the end of fall, Oliver Stone's annual extravaganza. Heaven and Earth is his return to Vietnam for a true spy story.
In the midst of betrayal, I struggle to remain strong. As I watch my world change forever, I remember my father's compassion.
And at the same time, The Pelican Brief, based on the political thriller by John Grisham, who also gave us the summer's big political thriller, The Firm.
If this thing reaches as deep and goes as high as we think it does, these men will do anything not to be exposed.
And that's our exposure of some of the fall films. Now, if you'd rather not wait that long for entertainment, I have some other suggestions for entertainment this week. Here are my choices for the best in Long Island leisure. My top pick is the Big Doo-Wop Show, with a host of oldies, including Davy Jones, Lou Christie, and the Earls, for 2 shows at the Music Fair on Saturday. For evening entertainment, try the Buddy Holly musical, Buddy, which recently opened in Bellport. A little cheaper, from Stony Brook, the home of William Sidney Mount, an exhibit of his drawings opening Saturday. For the whole family, let your hair down with Rapunzel at the Plaza Playhouse in Old Bethpage. And last chance to catch jazz violinist Jean-Luc Ponty at IMAC on Saturday. On the Isle, I'm Alan Oren.
Lots of good options there. And coming up, cutbacks ahead for Anheuser-Busch. We'll have that and the rest of the business news.
Plus, an environmental mishap in Alaska that turns out to be just ducky. Details ahead.
Why is it some people don't start planning their new home until they're in, over their head? If you're about to build, come to your Anderson Window Center store, and we'll help plan everything, from lighting a room with windows to getting a new home underway. At Anderson Window Centers, we help create all the home you want to come home to.
For more information on these fine Anderson products, visit Center Millwork in Long Beach.
You can start shrinking millions of fat cells and begin regaining your youthful figure in 24 to 48 hours. With your new Miracle Trim Diet Pill System, you can start losing up to 10, 20, 50, even 100 pounds for only $4.95. New Miracle Trim is doctor approved to help you quickly shrink millions of fat cells so you can easily regain your youthful figure.
Thanks to Miracle Trim, I'm enjoying my new body.
After 15 years of diets, Trevo finally found one that really works. Carol lost an astonishing 40 pounds. Joe lost an incredible 59 pounds. And Edie lost a mind-boggling 110 pounds. Call 1-800-544-5558 for your new Miracle Trim Diet Pill System, now for only $4.95. Personal check and credit card orders accepted by phone. Call 1-800-544-5558 to order your new Miracle Trim, now for only $4.95, and receive this free supply to complete your 21-day system.
Order today and receive a free weight loss consultation.
Call 1-800-544-5558.
When you shop at Frankel's, beautiful things begin to happen. Your home decorating budget grows. Our free family club card makes Frankel's values go even further. To celebrate our 69th anniversary, save on quality crafted cameo comforter ensembles. Warm up with fashionable Burlington House insulated window treatments. And save 43% on these cat bath coordinates. Every day you'll find more styles for every room that stretch every dollar.
Frankel's. Long Island Trackside. Want more? Then check out News 12 for all the island's racing news, highlights, and interviews. Watch Long Island Trackside this weekend, right here, only on News 12 Long Island.
Topping business news, the International Monetary Fund says for a fourth year in a row, the world's economy remains sluggish. The International Lending Agency expects worldwide unemployment to hit a record high of 32 million people this year. And bad news brewing at Anheuser-Busch. To add to that, the company says it will be trimming its workforce by 10% in its breweries and bakeries. The company says the downsizing will take place by 1997. With the changing of the season, many are wondering what Mother Nature has in store for us coming up. Well, News 12's Doug Geed tells us what farmers are forecasting in the Farmer's Almanac.
So what do farmers think of the Farmer's Almanac?
Oh, we have them on the place every year. We get Farmer's Almanac. I don't have one.
Some swear by them, some swear at them. Bill Sanick, who's been a Cornell Cooperative Extension agent in Riverhead for 25 years, says most farmers don't pay much attention to them at all. But even he had to marvel at one prediction. For this week, the almanac called for heavy thunderstorms in the east. Strangely enough, the East End was hit by powerful overnight thunderstorms that left many fields flooded.
Depending on where you are in the North Fork, at home I measured 1.75, 1 3/4 inches. At the research farm, about 3 inches. Right here, the farmer said he got 2.4 inches.
Now keep in mind there are two different almanacs, the Farmer's Almanac and the Old Farmer's Almanac. There's been kind of a friendly feud between the two through the years. This one is 177 years old. This one is 201 years old. This one says it predicted the wet weather in the Midwest that caused all those floods. This one says it predicted the hot, dry weather in our area. Truth is, many times both are right, many times both are wrong.
We kind of glanced at one and they were calling for a wet, cool summer, but apparently that's not what happened.
Longtime Calverton farmer Jake Rotkamp says his dad used to follow the almanac, and it says there are some old-timers still around today who pay close attention.
There is some farmers who religiously go along with what the Farmer's Almanac said with regards to planting vegetable seeds.
Both books are predicting above-average precipitation this fall, and while some feel what the almanac says doesn't amount to a hill of beans or a pile of pumpkins, as the case may be, there is one thing all farmers seem to agree on.
How about TV weatherman? Place more curtains in that?
Yeah, I guess I usually try and believe them anyhow. Not always right.
Well, I'd rather not say too much about TV weathermen.
In Riverhead, Doug Geed, News 12, Long Island.
Finally this hour, some strange animals are causing quite a stir in Alaska. It seems a cargo ship loaded with plastic toy animals was dumped into the waters off southwest Alaska last year, and now the toys are washing aground. Alaskan officials say the beaches are being invaded by blue turtles, yellow ducks, and beige beavers.
Certainly a different sight, causing some confusion for some of the animals, huh? That's it for us this hour. Thanks for watching. I'm Lee Tyrrell.
And I'm Patti Ann Browne, in for Carol Silva. Have a good day.